I want to sincerely apologize for the break in the transmission, just a little error, but good to be back again. And before the error, as I was saying, one of the major challenge, two key things we have to take note of in this particular, on this issue of the post-election, especially the tribunal issue. Number one, as I was going to say, is that I still do not understand why the PDP, first, they started by saying they will go to the tribunal. They never reach tribunal. They don't talk, say they get so many evidence, they get thousands of this. My challenge can be say, una won't do media trial. Why don't you go to the tribunal and present all your evidence? Why? Now that they tell us again about 400 witnesses. And my concern is that, you the way they plan war, you don't they always let your enemy know. Are you trying to intimidate the APC? Is it a case of that the PDP is using this strategy to intimidate APC? Because why now ask the tribunal to declare? Because go, let the case begin. Let's see the whole process. Then that, because in my own opinion, I do not expect that the PDP would want to give up their strategy by making the APC understand what they are planning. The 400 witnesses, why say all of these things? Why don't you just wait? By the time the hearings commence, then you start bringing out your witnesses. Let all of these things be a shock. May surprise APC say, we not get all this kind of plan. Because now, as soon as they tell APC on apply, APC said go plan. Now, the second thing which is very important on this is the fact that President Muhammadu Buhari don't lose for tribunal 2003, 2007, in fact 2007 and 2011. So you think say the man wey don lose for tribunal since he go come suddenly now wey he come dey now tribunal go come give judgment wey no go favour am. Because one of the things that we will not go forget for all of this matter wey we dey yarn so be say before the election they change the Chief Justice. So many Nigerians raise concerns saying, oh, this might be the reason, this is this, that is that. But even if we look at it with all that the PDP is doing, do you really think that President Muhammadu Buhari will lose this case at the tribunal? Judging by the fact that he has so many experiences, he knows why he lost the cases before. Maybe some people might want to say, oh, judges, corrupt judges, and all of the rest. But now, do you even think that President Muhammadu Buhari would not do everything possible, I mean everything possible, to ensure that he does not lose at the tribunal? Not, and some people want to think that, which is of course my own concern, is that if the PDP are really confident and they are sure of what they have, why make all of this noise for media? Why not go to the tribunal and bring out all your arsenals and face the APC, challenge the APC and INEC, and let's leave it, because whatever the court decides is final. But now that the PDP is saying, no, we have this, we have 400 witnesses, we have this, we know all of that, we have spy cameras, we have video footages of the manipulations. Oga, why let your plans out before the day? Well, I don't know what you think about this, but you can just drop your comments and let us know if you're watching us live now on our YouTube page or you are watching live on our website, www.cinnigeria.com. Do not forget also that you can drop your information. Our WhatsApp number is still available, which is of course 08065350713, where you can also talk to us even on social media at cinnigeria.com. And now, away from the Atiku and Buhari saga, the post-election, one other big issue that we have to look at is the supplementary election. Now, supplementary election, we know that initially, the Independent National Electoral Commission, in a press release issued on the 12th of this month, said that there will be, of course, we run elections, supplementary election in 6 states, namely Bauchi, Adamawa, Benue, Kano, Sokoto, and Plateau. Now, suddenly, INEC made a U-turn. But before the U-turn, let's just take a look at the statement, because immediately after the U-turn, INEC announced that the governorship and state assembly election were held on the 9th of March in Tafawa Balewa local government area, and the votes scored by candidates were announced at the polling unit and collated at 11 registration areas of the local government. Halfway into the local government collation, armed gang attacked the collation center and destroyed the local government result sheets. That is from EC8C, and some collated results from the registration areas. The results of 7 out of 11 registration areas for governorship and 6 out of 11 for state election were affected. So, but in that particular, immediately the Independent National Electoral Commission decided that the collation will go on in Buhari State. So Buhari State will not have supplementary election. And immediately they have made this announcement, the APC came out. And this statement by the APC surprised me because let's not forget, say Buhari State, now APC be the governor for Buhari State. And at the time the election was conducted, our president is APC. He has been declared winner, or the winner of the presidential election. And now, this is what APC said. And this thing make me laugh very well because I don't know what to make APC make this kind of statement. A statement by the spokesperson of APC, Lanre Onilu, he said this. He said, post-election, Nigerians will record that the All Progressive Congress had severally raised alarm over the plots by opposition PDP to use violence, vote buying, and other election malpractice to subvert the will of the electorate and steal their mandate. 2 lines there where you note. Use violence, vote buying, and other election malpractice. Number 1 thing you must know be say, the only big name, political big name that occupies a very big position in the country at the moment in Buhari State is the Speaker of the House of Assembly, the National Assembly, House of Rep. Talking about Right Honorable Yakubu Dogara. For the state, for Buhari, na APC be governor. For federal, na APC be president. So for you, where they hear now, you really believe, say, PDP go free use stock and get money to buy election and even cause violence for Buhari State, where the governor na APC, our president where they command the armed forces na APC. You really believe this statement by APC? That's left for you to decide, because the PDP believes say they win their election, and because APC say they don't win, now they take scatter the whole thing. Because more not forget, say now only one local government will they talk about too for Buhari State. That now the Tafawa Balewa local government area for Buhari State, where only 7 registration area out of 11 now they affected. Now they don't get result for other places so for Buhari. But when immediately INEC made the announcements, then remember the governor of the state decided that he would take INEC to court. Courts don't give judgments, and courts don't stop INEC from collating Buhari governorship election results. Yes. Who go to court? APC. Court don't judge in APC favor. Well, any more thing to talk about there? Maybe not much from here, but another thing we'll take a look at quickly, now to look at the results already announced in the affected states. The 6 states there where the rerun won't happen before, including Buhari. The 5 states, including Buhari. So if we see what we get on screen now, you discover that for Adamawa State, PDP they lead with 19,000 votes for Adamawa State. For Benue State, PDP they lead with 82,000 votes, over 82,000 votes. For Buhari, 4,000 votes. Now, not much margin. And of course, that now one of the reasons why APC they believe say once they call for a rerun, then they didn't believe say okay, they will do everything possible to win. Now for Kano, 26,000 votes. Now we get the total number of votes affected for the polling unit where they will do rerun for Kano State is over 128,000 registered voters in Kano State. Now in Plateau State, APC they lead with 44,000 votes, and Sokoto PDP leading with 3,000 votes. One of the key things we will take note of for this particular supplementary election, why it is very important, is that on Monday, yes, Because remember that why immediately or after the elections were declared inconclusive, we had state governors from states affected and even candidates of the APC from in states like Sokoto, Benue, you know, where the PDP is the incumbent in the state, had to visit President Muhammadu Buhari. And information come out then say they are lobbying the president to do things and make things work in their favor. And why some people came to at least give a disclaimer, especially the APC, to say that is not true. A report in the National Daily came out yesterday, Monday, where it was said that the federal government, in fact, we'll take a look at the report on these three, the Independent newspaper. Now, this is what we have there. This is the report on Independence newspaper, the headline. We won't help you rig presidency, tells APC governors. Now, if we look at the riders, it says, ask them to work hard. That is, the presidency is asking them to work hard and earn their people's vote. APC also alleged fraud in Bauchi, Rivers, Kano, Sokoto, Adamawa, Benue. Every of the states, now the APC don't they shout, say, they fraud them. Now, one of the things why this headline is very, and it shouldn't be taken for a joke, is that if the presidency will say that APC government should go and work hard, my question is that, is it not true that APC governors actually asked the president to rig the election in their favor? If they will go to ask the president to rig the election, is it a case of that elections have been rigged in this 2019 election? Because if there are no incidents or there is no event or any particular state where elections were rigged in the 2019 election, why would it be possible for governors to go to the president and ask and make this demand, and the president in turn says no? I think something is fishy and it's not very clear what has happened there. Because if the presidency would tell the governors, go and seek the support of your people, it simply means that they've made a demand. They've asked from the president, do this, help us to win this state. Because remember, the APC called for an emergency meeting. And if we look at going by what is happening, if the result goes with the margin and it favors the PDP, it means eventually the APC will have 19 states and the PDP will have 7 states and the other 1 state, which will be Anambra State. But as it is, we cannot tell where the election will swing. And for the fact that they are already making a call and calling tells us so much that there's a big issue in the country which everyone has to look into. Look into in the sense that something they fishy, and perhaps every other person needs to at least pay attention to it. Everybody in states where election will take place. We'll have to go for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll do a little focus on Kano and take a look at what a member of the People's Redemption Party in Kano State has to say about the supplementary election that will happen this Saturday in the state. Stay with us, we'll be right back. This is still GDP on Citizen Information Network, CIA. All right, welcome back now. Thank you very much for staying with us. And of course, just quickly, let's take a look at, let's get to hear what a member of the People's Redemption Party in Kano State, a former senator, he represented Kano Central, the Senate, Senator Rufai Anga, has to say about the supplementary election in Kano, and of course the position of the People's Redemption Party in the state and who they will support at the poll. Our correspondent Sule K. Fage was with him earlier in the week to seek his opinion on the supplementary election in the state. Let's take a listen to what Senator Rufai Anga has to say.
The whole exercise by telling people to only vote for the right people, who they trust. Now, this time around, the people came out en masse to protect their votes, and especially in the municipalities. When the government found that there was no way for them to do what they did at the time, they quickly hold themselves to an emergency meeting in the government house and dispatched people to villages with the other government outside of the suburbs and other rural local governments to perpetrate the atrocities they always do. And they did, of course. They were not to the scale they would have wanted to do, because they only realized.
All right, welcome back now. Thank you very much for staying with us. That was Senator Rufai Anga there. And in that interview, he said that the People's Redemption Party, PRP in Kano State, would definitely be supporting the PDP because they do not want Ganduje. But in that interview, which definitely you have to see the full clip of that interview on our website and also on our YouTube page, we'll make it available so you can take a listen to get to hear the details. He said in that particular interview that the PRP, the People's Redemption Party in Kano, supported President Muhammadu Buhari re-election. So no wonder, because so many people have been asking questions, why is the presidential election result in Kano different from that of the governorship? Now, because if we can have the governorship result up on the screen again, you discover that presently, now we have the rerun this Saturday, but at its stand, the PDP has over 1 million votes and the APC over 900,000 votes. Now, but remember in the presidential election, the APC has over 1.4 million votes in that particular election in Kano State. And now, so if you are one of those who is surprised as at why the PDP will be doing well in the governorship election and didn't do so well for the presidential, from the statement by Senator Rufai Anga, it simply means that the people of Kano, especially the people of fellow members of PRP, the People's Redemption Party, they supported and they wanted President Muhammadu Buhari back, and does not really want Atiku Abubakar. But then we'll just wait because the PDP is going to the tribunal, only the court will tell. But definitely that is just one of the things we can tell from that interview with Senator Anga, who is saying now that for the governorship election, PRP go with PDP. But he said for the presidential, even apart from the fact say APC spend money well, but even themselves, PRP wants Buhari to come back. Now, that is it about the supplementary election. Do not forget that on Saturday, Citizen Information Network, our studio will be open as we bring you coverage from Kano, Sokoto, and of course Benue State, where we bring you all of these reports about the supplementary election, and of course in our Plateau State also. So you just have to stay with CIN this Saturday for the live coverage. It's going to be a rerun election, but definitely we'll follow and see it through to the declaration. So you can stay with us on that. Now, another issue we have to look at quickly, the third thing we want to talk about on GDP today, governance, development, and people, is of course, we want to set the agenda for President Muhammadu Buhari. Now, election in this country, for most Nigerians, it's about the election day. And after the election day, after the election is conducted, done, and there is a winner or losers, then Nigerians just go back and relax. This time around 2019, we want to do it differently. And Citizen Information Network, we are ready to track and follow the campaign promises of the political parties and see how well they will deliver by reminding them of their promises. So we just want to do a quick review of what President Muhammadu Buhari promised during the campaign, because all of this is contained in the next level paper of the APC their campaign promises called the next level document. And of course, we'll also take a look at other states, including Lagos. But on today's episode of GDP, our focus is on President Muhammadu Buhari, the APC at the presidency level. Now, earlier yesterday, our correspondent was on the streets of Lagos talking about Henry Akpos to speak to Nigerians, Lagosians, Nigerians residing in Lagos in particular, to tell us what they expect of President Muhammadu Buhari's government, the next level government. Let's not forget that from 2015 to as we speak, the government has not been able to meet up campaign promises. So many Nigerians blame the government for blaming the previous administration led by the PDP, because so many times the government of the APC said the reason they can't really perform is because the PDP wasted 16 years. And now Nigerians, some Nigerians, maybe not all, have decided to trust the APC by voting President Muhammadu Buhari again. And this time around, there's another promise. But before we take a look at this promise, let's get to hear what Nigerians expect of Buhari's administration this time around.
He's going to do it. But from what we have seen, the first tenure he has spent, what he was able to do, at least is feasible. If you travel across this country, you will see where the Baba has worked, either in the rail or either in the construction of the road. So a lot of things the man has done. We believe in him because the type of person Buhari is not looking for money. He's very, very confident that whatever he wants to do, he will do it. So he's not begging anybody to say, because I want the position. Do you think there will be more progress in the next 4 years compared to the previous? I hope so. I hope so because, one, the progress that made so far. Don't forget, when Buhari came in, it's like there was economic recession when he came in 2015. But he was able to manage that situation and brought Nigeria out of that recession. So now he will now concentrate on how to develop this country. He will now concentrate how to make Nigeria good for the masses and all Nigerians.
From my own opinion, I believe he must have learned his lesson from the first tenure. But looking at him as a person, I don't think he's somebody who is organized. From my own view anyway, because everybody is entitled to his own opinion. But if he can organize himself, by setting up a right cabinet, people who can be able to run the affair of this country well, get some people who are capable. Unlike what they did in the first tenure, whereby they never expected to win, all of a sudden the team was given to them on a platter of gold. And I believe because they were not organized then, things were somehow. But I believe with the experience of the first tenure, I believe things will work out better. But Nigerian politics being what it is, from what I'm seeing, I don't think things will get better.
Now, sir, talking about what you've seen in the last 4 years, now, what do you think this present administration, Buhari, needs to change going forward?
Mostly, especially hunger. Hunger, if they can tackle hunger, because there is hunger in the land. Everybody is aware about it. And this is exactly what the common man is carrying for, because there is a lot of hunger in the land.
There's no way we'll talk about the next 4 years without talking about the past 4 years or the present before the new year. Actually, well, to some, there have been a lot of disappointment in the first place, and to some, the man has actually tried. But for somebody like me, the man performed below expectation for the past 4 years. So now for the forthcoming 4 years, well, we hope the man will do better. But for me, I'm not expecting too much from him, because we cannot separate the man's strength, ability, age from his performance. You can't separate those things.
Judging by the previous administration, as in his previous 4 years, what are those things that you think it needs to change for Nigeria to improve?
His attitude towards governance, its attitude towards the yearning of the people, its attitudes towards even the fight against corruption, because some believe the corruption fight is even selective. However, if you want to fight corruption, it has to be comprehensive. You cannot be pointing an accusing finger to others while people that surrounded you, they have issues. I'm expecting a whole lot. I'm expecting, as you can see, we actually have problems with lights, we have problems with education, a lot of things. So I'm not going to say there's a specific thing that is needed. There's security, there's roads, you know, joblessness, a lot of things. So we have a lot of problems. I need to tell you, I need to be basic about it. So all these are things we really expect in the next 4 years because we lack everything, absolutely everything. So, but we just pray in time to come. Even so, how do you think this administration can improve upon those things that we're lacking, sir? Well, the administration is going to improve if there is oneness, there is unity, there is togetherness. Because from my own point of view, there's no unity in terms of politics in Nigeria. You know, when you intend to do the right thing, there are people around who actually don't want you to actually put things in place. So there's a problem. I'll call them the cabal. Sorry.
Nothing serious, except he selects experts to determine the course of the economy. But his government, as constituted, definitely will not deliver anything, economically and otherwise. The fight against corruption is not only lopsided, but it's lacking sincerity.
So, how do you think that the administration can improve upon it and deliver what Nigerians are actually yearning for?
Yes. If the government will take Nigeria forward to the next level, then it should be less tribalistic. The government is so sectional, so it has to be all-inclusive. Go across the nation. There are talents, there are brains, there are people, patrons. Go across the nation, all over, not just one-sided, not just his own people. Pick people that can run the economy and push Nigeria forward.
I get to say there, and wow, diverse opinion, and that is good for democracy. And of course, that is what Citizen Information Network is all about. We bring all the different opinions together, and of course, for you who is out there to form your own stand, your position. And of course, one of the major things we stand for is, of course, bringing the people's opinion to public knowledge. Of course, where people in government get to know what the people are saying, the yearnings of the people. Because, of course, we are online, we are on social media, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, and of course, we have our website, www.cinnigeria.com. Do not forget again that the program is GDP, Governance, Development, and People, and we'll bring this program, live broadcast of this program every Tuesday and Thursday going forward. With me, TWITWI, AYENOWOWON. But then again, let's now look at the next level document of the APC. This is the document here. This is what they presented as the next level. And now I'll open this document, and of course, we'll share some information with you, and these informations will be available on our screen. One of the things they said in this particular document presented by APC during the campaign is that on railway, on transportation, they promised to complete the Lagos-Ibadan-Kano rail, and on the Eastern Corridor to complete from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. That means it will pass through the eastern state from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. And this one will go through Aba and all the southeast states, capitals, through Makurdi, Jos, Bauchi, Gombe, and then you have Gombe, and then it take you to Maiduguri. Then from there we have the coastal rail. This coastal rail, honestly, I need to breathe down here, because the truth is that it's not as if we do not believe in this government or in any government. Every government we don't come for this country, they always promise. Not be joke. I remember this coastal rail. Now so Obasanjo time they take and make noise, because if you live in Lagos, if you reside in Lagos, if you know Lagos very well, discover that the map of the coastal rail is supposed to take off from where we now call Oniru Beach, which is that road that people now call or where they have a landmark. You know, a lot of people in Lagos pass this road as the alternative. So this road is supposed to link to those that lives in the Eleko, if you know Eleko area. This road is supposed to pass through the Elegushi Beach, and from there it will go through all to Awoyaya, and from Awoyaya will go through a town in the Bejuleti local government that so many more don't know called Solu, and from there you go to Eleko, then you go to the main town called Lekki. I was going to say Lekki, but on that one you just wait for a documentary if you want to know the origin of the name Lekki. But that is just to tell you what the coastal rail is all about. It will pass through this corridor to Ogun State, to Ilaje, you know, in Ondo State, and then to Edo State, you know, all the way to Delta, and it will terminate at Calabar. That is the end of the coastal rail. But so many government don't promise, and I can tell you as we speak now, this coastal rail where they talk say they go complete them, say they go do, they never lay foundation for them. So I don't know where they won't see the money, but they don't promise Nigerians say they'll do them. So let's wait and be hopeful that the government will deliver on this coastal rail project, because once this is done, it means that people all around the Niger Delta will not have to go far before they get to Lagos. The economy will increase, because when you get to Lagos, you can from Lagos travel to other part of the country. So the country will be so linked together that we won't have the stress that our road go through, because we dey spend so many money to take dey fix our road every year, and we not even dey still fix the road. So we can only hope that the government deliver on this promise. That now if court no go change and say no be them enter come put Atikusha. But then on job, okay, on job, a lot of people will want to smile, because this job matter. Now one thing we fit talk about the government, I just wonder that under this government it was reported that over 7.5 million people lost their job, you know. But now the government has promised. They promised plenty. We'll just go through some of them. But quickly, let's just go through what they have here, what we'll just display on the screen. That in this second term, the government has promised that they will do what? The next level, the Empower program will engage 1 million graduates. And then there is a promise to skill up 10 million people under a voucher scheme in partnership with private sector. Maybe it should be that the blind say they already do that one already, but let's see. That is just a promise. And they also promised to train 200,000 youth for a sourcing market in technology, service, and entertainment. 200,000. And then, when it comes to now the Anchors Brower program, which of course they have going at the moment, the government has promised to transform the transformation of the livestock. They plan to create 1.5 million jobs in dairy, beef, and the hide business, you know, and in agricultural mechanization policy, including to protect or create about 5 million jobs. The promise is this so much. But the reason we've decided to look at this on today's episode of GDP, Governance, Development, and People, is to let the government know and to let Nigerians know that we at Citizen Information Network will keep track of all the promises and will follow this to the latter to see if they will fulfill these promises. Not just talking about the federal government, but also state government. So on the next episode of GDP, we shall take a look at the promises by the APC in Lagos, by the Sanwo-Olu campaign, and one of the challenges that we are facing in Lagos at the moment. We will take a look at all of this from state to state. But right now, at this moment, we'll just go for a quick break, and when we come back after this break, we'll be bringing the program to a close. Do not forget that you can drop your message with us, drop your comment, let us know what you think, and let us know what you really think about the program, and also what you think about the promises made by the APC. We have the full dossier here, so in case you do not have a copy, we are here to look at all of this and share their promises with you, so that together we can hold the government accountable. if they fail to deliver. Stay with us, we'll be right back after this break. All right, thank you very much for staying with us. This is the GDP, Governance, Development, and People on Citizen Information Network. And of course, my name, now TWITWI, AYENOWOWON. Do not forget that you can just drop your comments if you are watching us live on YouTube on our website. Now, let's look at another of the campaign promise. This is also very important outside work. It's also power, because one of the major challenges we face for this country now electricity. Now, I will tell you that generation, the government don't promise that they will ensure that a minimum of 1,000 megawatts new generation incremental power per annum on the grid. You understand what I'm saying? Remember that our generating capacity at the moment installed is up to 10,000 megawatts. But over the years, we've not been able to generate up to 10,000 megawatts. So the government is promising that they will ensure that every year we will increase the generation by 1,000 megawatts. That would amount to a total of 11,000 megawatts at the end of the 4 years. Because presently, what we are achieving is between 7,000 megawatts, and it drops at times. But the good news is that, of course, earlier today, the distribution companies were deliberating together with the generation companies and even the transmission company of Nigeria. They had a press conference where they were talking about how to distribute the power generated so far by increasing the distribution capacity of the discos. That is the good news now, is that as we speak, we started generating up to 8,000 megawatts already. So that already is a plus for the government, because trust me, the government has done well in that regard, and that is a plus. But let's see if they'll keep up with this promise and deliver the 11,000 megawatts they've promised after 4 years. That is talking about 1,000 megawatts generation every year. But away from that also, we're not going to forget, if we really want to enjoy stable electricity, we need over 160,000 megawatts. Yes. So if they just give us 11,000 megawatts, it's progress, but it still won't be enough. And even as we speak, some people, they complain for Abuja, say darkness day. Well, apart from generation, distribution is a very key issue. A very key issue. Something of main concern. And lastly, still looking at the whole program, let's just take a quick look at health. The government has also promised that on health they would give health insurance for all, using co-payments to share the cost between individuals, the private sector, and government. The poorest, 40%, will be exempted from such co-payments. I hope you understand this. 40% of the poorest people for this country, they go exempt them from that co-payment. Because of course, health insurance means that for those who are working, you have to pay a certain amount, the government take care of the rest. And those who are in private sectors, you pay a certain, they deduct it from your salary, your company foot the rest of the bill together with what government is providing. But now they are saying 40% for the poorest, the 40% of the poorest people in the country will be exempted. Well, we're going to need to wait and see how that goes. Just stay with us, stay with Citizen Information Network, because we'll bring you all of these informations and follow the progress on the campaign promises of the government. Do not forget that this government, the second term of this government, will begin on May 29 this year. So you can trust Citizen Information Network to bring you all the informations. Do not forget that we have our other programs. TSA, and of course Voice Pop and other programs as we'll be introducing soonest on Citizen Information Network. My name is TWITWI, AYENOWOWON. At this point now, we want to thank you very much for staying with us and for your time with us on the program today. Join us again next week, Thursday, as we bring you more and even more information on the state of the country, the economy, and even what is going on. But let's not forget before we go that you can follow us CIN Nigeria on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And of course, our YouTube again is www.youtube.com/CIN Nigeria. I know you are watching us on YouTube probably. Of course, we are live on YouTube. And of course, on our website, www.cinnigeria.com. You can go to our website to see some stories that will be featured so you can get to read and update yourself. And then again, our heart goes out to all of those, the victims of the building collapse in Ibadan, Lagos, and of course, talking about Lagos, a very sad story. Itafaji happened last week, and since the government commenced demolition, another building collapsed again, still on Lagos Island. So our heart goes out to, the latest one is at Okearin Market. Very sad development. We hope the state government will work on this and also help the homeless, those affected by the demolition, to get somewhere where they can rest their head. Thank you very much for spending your time with us on this program. My name is TWITWI, AYENOWOWON. Until next week Thursday again, we'll bring GDP your way. But stay with CIN for everything information. Bye-bye.